squad, get the mob, it ain't no sobbing when we come up. If I want it, then I got it, ain't no problem for us young bucks. Standing on the couch, popping bottles till they empty. Tugging on my Louis, baby girl, trying to tempt me. Leaving out the club, told her meet me at...
Welcome to the channel. You are with fouo. Remember, this information is for official use only. We're putting together a special podcast for you today. I don't normally do this, but the opportunity met, and I wanted to introduce you to my boys. So the subject that we'll be talking about today is separating from the Air Force. Now, myself, I'm still in the Air Force, active captain in the Air Force. We also have Nick Carter, active captain in the Air Force, and we have Jacoby Owens, who is separating from the Air Force as a captain. I wanted to take this opportunity to really dig into it, see his perspective, maybe get some information that can help somebody else out there that can either sway you to stay in or get out or do whatever is best for you. So first, I wanted to introduce Nick Carter. He's going to be one of my co-hosts today. Air Force Academy graduate, currently stationed out here at Luke Air Force Base, working F-16s, as well as the F-35 program. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Nicholas Carter.
Of course, pleasure to be here, brother.
And then we also have Jacoby Owens, who was at Luke Air Force Base, Air Force Academy graduate, number 4 all-time rusher for the Falcons. You know what I'm saying? And now he is going to go work at Meta, formerly known as Facebook, and moving to Austin in the next week. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Owens.
How we doing? Everybody can hear me? Mic check 1 2 1 2.
All right, we're good. So, like I said, I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of dig into your mindset, kind of what pushed the decisions, the levers in your head to go, yeah, I'll separate from the Air Force after everything you've been through. I've known Jacoby for the last 9.5 years. We met at the Air Force Academy Prep School, as well as Nick Carter. And to give the Air Force about 10 years of your life and then go on to make the decision to separate is a very huge thing. So I really wanted to know, but first things first, I wanted to get a little bit of the background about Jacoby. So tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
Okay, so a little bit about myself. Wow, I feel like I've been answering this question a lot, just as far as going through interviewing with all these companies that I interviewed with. So I'm well versed at it right now, but a little bit about myself. Jacoby Owens, born and raised Las Vegas, Nevada. Grew up there, obviously. Went to the Air Force Academy to play football. Ironically, I did not care about the military whatsoever. I just wanted to play Division I football, right? Got the opportunity to do that. Did pretty well. Graduated. My mentor at the time, she pretty much told me, she said, since you're not going to fly, because I didn't want to fly. She said, since you don't want to fly, you need to be a maintenance officer. So I put that first on my list. And being a maintenance career field is, if you put that anywhere on your list, you pretty much get it, right? And these two can attest to that, because it was not first like it was for mine. So I did the whole maintenance officer gig, learned a ton about operations, heavy operational guy, as well as just the ins and outs of putting out daily fires, right? I feel like as a maintenance officer, you learn pretty quickly how to put out a fire, how to do other people's jobs, because one thing that they don't tell you, or a lot of people will say, like, you tell somebody, oh, I'm a maintenance officer in Air Force. A lot of people look at you like, sorry, bro. And that's unfortunate that a lot of people know that the job is tough, but the job is because you're pretty much doing a lot of jobs at once, as far as like being a man. So, oh, I'm a logistics officer today. Oh, I'm a PA officer today. Oh, I'm this type of officer today.
You're a counselor. You end up counseling people.
Exactly. That's what the job brings. You know, a ton of people, ton of responsibility, but sometimes a ton of fun too.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about myself. Where was I at as far as what was the question you asked to follow?
I just asked that you tell us about yourself. I think something that whenever I talk to somebody, I start with 2 questions. The first of those questions is, it tells me a lot about a person. I always ask, where do you call home?
I call home Las Vegas, Nevada. Northtown to be exact. They've both seen it, you know, the great city of Las Vegas, Northtown. That's where I call home. Outside of that, my parents. So yeah, that's where I call home.
And then my second question, what is your purpose? Why do you think you were put here?
That is a very tough question. Especially because given at the age that we are is very much, I guess, the rest of our lives type thing. Like we're moving to the real adulthood instead of the young adulthood. Like the later 20s is pretty much, I got a good idea of who I am, you know, and this is who I want to be. So that's when the two start meeting, and that's where purpose is found. For me, as of right now, I think it's constantly changing what I think my purpose is, but at the core, I think my purpose is to help people, right? In whatever aspect that is. These two can tell you all the time, I'm always here to lend an ear, to listen to them. I am known to give advice on a lot of stuff. On a lot of stuff. And if I can't find an answer for you, I'll do research with you to go get it, right? So in any position I'm in, I am looking to aid. I'm looking to help, and I think that is my purpose. I'm good at that, right? So I just run with it.
And I guess that would make sense. What Jacoby's not telling you all is that he actually wants to end up in a consulting gig. He's currently working for Meta. He'll see how that treats him. It's nothing. It's nothing to wipe your nose or sniff your nose at. That is a big deal, especially for a lot of people in the military who feel that they don't have a lot of options. So it's something else that we could dig into.
Yep.
But initially, I just wanted to get those things out of the way because it'll help frame the conversation about like why you've made some of the decisions you made, or whenever people are listening to some of your answers later on, they'll have some background to it as to where you feel you need to be in life,
Okay, so mine is a little twofold, right? So I made my decision to get out of the military in the height of 2020, right? In literally the middle of the country erupting, as far as political tensions and racial tensions. I just started to feel like along the same of the last question, that I wasn't serving my purpose in the military. I felt purposeless, actually, and this was literally while I was deployed. I felt like I wasn't serving a purpose, and I thought that was crazy, but it hit me hard. I was like, I literally called my boss the next week and I told him that I'm separating. I need a reclama because I need to stay at Luke an extra year because I want to get out on time. And they worked it out for me, but I literally got out of the military because I felt like I was wasting my time. And that's from my perspective, right? Obviously, given what I was doing while I was deployed, gave a little insight into that, but it also helped me because I was able to see where I was headed. I was the aide for the maintenance group commander out there. He was a 06, a colonel. So I pretty much followed him around all the time. I got to see his job, right? And that's eventually where I would be heading, right? If I chose to go down this path. And I just felt like what I wanted to do career-wise, or just job life-wise, right? What I wanted to do wasn't matching up with what he was currently doing as the commander out there. And I just felt like my purpose wasn't lining up with that, so I chose to hit the button.
So
even
let
though
me
you,
add some. Oh, go for it, Swag. Go for it.
so even though you had that job security, and this is with the way the country was going, you just knew that you was gonna take that risk to separate and figure to chase your goals.
I am a full supporter of betting on yourself.
Mm.
And if I get the opportunity, I will double down every time. I did not care about job security or whatever. I'm a figure it out. And that's something for all three of us, actually, that was bred into us. We're going to figure it out. Whatever the job is, whatever you need us to do, doesn't matter. Right. So with that, that didn't cross my mind as far as as job security. I'm always have a paycheck or something like that. Because when you think about it, like Mashua said, he's known me for the last 9.5 years. And the last 9.5 years, we've been getting a paycheck from the Air Force on the 1st and the 15th, like clockwork.
1st and 15th, like clockwork.
Has not missed once, right? I literally said, I don't care. We are getting out of here.
That's something I'm gonna think twice about. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think before we get too far though, I think it's important though to add context to what he was saying about seeing the colonel's job out there. First, deployed location across seas, worked as the group commander's aide. It's a very specific position. And him saying that he didn't necessarily want that for his life or want that job is not necessarily tied to not having a purpose. I just want to make sure that we make that distinction, because he said he didn't feel like he was serving his purpose. Those people, those colonels, those officers, those enlisted members, everyone that goes across seas, everyone that joins into this voluntary service are very important. So that's not what he's getting at. What he's speaking from is a very personal aspect of things when he says he didn't feel it was fulfilling his own purpose, because those people make decisions every single day that aid in the safety of the United States. So we want to make that distinction before we get too much further.
Right, because they'll take that and be like, oh no, he doesn't. That's not it. Right. I still happily serve, right? I still happily serve. And still will after the fact. But right, it's more personal as far as like me not serving my purpose, right? I'm still helping people, right? Still won however many awards and did my thing while in service, but I felt like my cup was half empty. And it became apparent in 2020 when everything popped off.
It felt like a routine. You just going with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's also good to note the kind of person you are. I only speak of this because I know you as my friend, right? As my best friend, actually. But the reason I'm asking about like who you are as a person, because I think it may be important for people to know when they're making these kind of decisions, is the type of life he's had. Like, I personally think Jacoby has done the work at every single level, and you have to do the work. You have to have certain intangibles. Like, he's one of those people that will succeed no matter where he goes. So that kind of I would think that guides the decision making a little bit too, right?
Yeah, you're right. And I'll say that because no matter what, like every day you wake up, right? There's work to be done. There's work to be put in. You have to deposit it to the bank account. No matter what it is, no matter what job it is. And if you aren't, you'll find yourself stagnant. And there's really no way out of that but to work, right? So as far as like what you were saying, that aided in my decision process because I have an innate feeling in me always that I'm going to be okay. That no matter what happens, I'm going to land on my feet because I'm going to be able to go out there and get it done. With whatever would that be. Or I chose to get out and go be an entrepreneur or something like that. I was going to figure it out. But if you don't have that belief in you, I would tell you to stay in the military because it is nerve-wracking. Now, right now, with me being, 2 weeks out from driving out to Texas to assume my role, I'm sitting pretty, right? I'm doing my thing. I've made my arrangements, right? Everything's good to go. But I will say that around July, August timeframe, when it was me still trying to figure out what I wanted to do, while it's itching closer to figure out like what are companies I wanted to apply for, if I had any type of in with any of these companies, or if I knew somebody over there. That part was nerve-wracking and caused so much anxiety for me. I was literally going through it. I want to say I had sleep issues during that time period. I remember a time where I had text Carter like 3 in the morning. He was like, "Why are you up?" And I told him, I was like, "You don't ever just like wake up and check your phone?" He was
Why
like,
was
"No."
he up?
He was like, "I sleep the whole night through." He was like, "No, I sleep the whole night through." I was like, "Oh, well, I wake up like at 12 and at 3, like clockwork." And I had been doing that for the last 4 months. And it didn't occur to me that this job search and trying to figure out my life out past the military was weighing on me so heavy. So I don't want it to make it seem like it was easy, because it wasn't, right? Spent a lot of nights praying, spent a lot of time on LinkedIn. A lot of connections were made to land where I was at, right? But if that's what you want to do, it's what you got to do, right? And not saying that it's hard work. I feel like all work is easy work. You just got to pull your pants up and go get it. But it's still work at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think I want this page to be like educational. So if you could like list what some of that work was, like in terms of the military. So like, how did the process go? So you said you called in 2020, you hit your boss up, you said, "Can I get a reclama?" A lot of people don't know the officer side works a little bit different than the enlisted side, because the enlisted sign a contract and it gives them a certain amount of years. But the officer side is like tied to things that the Air Force gives you, such as when you come out the academy, everyone has, if you don't go rated, everyone has a 5-year service time. And then from there, if you PCS, they add 2 years. If you take educational benefits, they add years, things of that nature. If they send you to school, like PME, professional development, they add years, things like that. It works a little different than the enlisted side, than just their contract. So how did it start for you? And then past telling your boss that you wanted to get out, and then what steps did you take to do that work?
So it started, like I said, asking my boss for the reclama. That's a form that they have to file to pretty much take me off of the vulnerable mover list, which is a list that populates every season that they have, spring, summer, and winter. Officers pop up on this list, and it's pretty much telling them like, "Hey, this time period of this year, you're going to be moving, right? We don't have that yet, or where you'll be going, but hey, you're vulnerable. So just so you know." So I popped up on the list, knew it was coming because it was my time to move after my deployment. So I told my boss, called him, let him know, "Hey, need a reclama." And that's something that they have to agree to as well, right? Now, given the circumstance of, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting out. Can you allow me a year to make my decision?" I can't really see too many bosses saying no to that, but still they have to want to keep you at the base, right? If they don't like you, they could say no, peace out, right?
You got 2 more years.
Exactly, and add 2 more years to your service. Luckily, that was not the case for me. He allowed me to stay, and it worked out for me. And then once I got my reclama, it was go time, right? It was, "All right, Jacoby, what do you want to do?" Right? To be honest, I was all over the place. When I say I left no stone unturned, I turned over every stone. I thought about entrepreneurships. I thought about consulting. Literally went through a couple case interviews with Boston Consulting Group consultants just to practice because I thought I was going to apply and go straight into that. Quickly did I realize that I was not cut from that cloth yet. So it's going to take me, it'll take a little bit more practice to get there. But from there, literally, I just was researching on LinkedIn, looking at companies that I want to work at. Okay, now I'm clicking the company on LinkedIn. Who works at this company that I might know? I don't know anybody. Okay, who graduated from the academy from this company? Okay, I see a couple. I'm gonna click them. Hey, so-and-so, I'm Jacoby Owens, going to be separating soon. Would love to chat with you. You might have some insight that can help me on my separation, right? And I did that, and I've gained mentors from that. I've gained friends from that. I've gained a lot of great knowledge from that. Pretty much learned that Amazon is a dumpster fire and work there is might be worse than the military, which is crazy to me. But I've learned a lot, right? And I went through that process, met some great people. And as a vet, especially one that came from the academy, right? I'm not trying to be classes, but there are a lot of people out there that'll help you, right? Who are willing and wanting to help you. And for me, I saw that firsthand, how many people responded back to me, wanted to ask or had questions for me, like, how can I help you? Do you need this? Do you need that? I could link you with this person. I could link you with that person. Oh, okay, well, this person does this, and then they're at this company, and then they may, it's like once the ball gets rolling, it just keeps rolling, and eventually you'll hop off the ball and you'll land on your feet, because that's how it works. Vets take care of vets, right? There's so many programs out there that'll help you. Yeah.
If you could name one program that everybody needs to know, what would it be? What would it be? I'm sorry.
One program that everybody needs to know.
Or website or a hiring service.
Okay, so
help you out throughout this process.
So there are three that I want to talk about. First is SkillBridge. Everybody knows what SkillBridge is. If you don't, you need to go to the education office and learn what SkillBridge is, so you can get right. That's a great opportunity. Your last 6 months of service, you could join a company on the SkillBridge, which is pretty much working as an internship while still getting paid from the Air Force. Mm-hmm. Great opportunity. I did it with United Health Group. I used my SkillBridge to learn a couple things about corporate America, right? As well as I was still job searching. Gave me a little more time because I was away from the flight line, maintenance officering, Second would be Hiring Our Heroes. That website, they have jobs and SkillBridge opportunities. They have it broken down in like an Excel spreadsheet format type of thing, where it literally shows you like the industry, if it's remote or not, if you have to relocate, the company, job description of like what you'll be doing. And they even have stuff in there about where that job could lead you to, like from that step, right? Like, oh, if you take this internship, you can potentially maneuver your way into a PM job, project manager job, or something like that. And then third,
is that broken down by rank? So like, people are different ranks and career fields. Like, hey, if you're doing this.
It wasn't broken down by rank on there, but it was pretty easy to tell like where you should be looking as far as, what type of experience you have, right? So obviously I was looking at all of the project program manager roles, because that's what we are, right? But then they had all these other positions on there as well, like as far as specialists and technicians and stuff like that. So like because obviously your resume should be done before you start this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you should know what your experience is. So when you go looking at those opportunities, you should be able to decipher like, hey, I should probably look at these opportunities. I might have my best bet. If you can't decipher that, then you need to go back a couple steps, right? And redo it. The third resource I wanted to highlight is a company called Breakline. Breakline is geared towards getting people into tech, and not just people, but underrepresented communities. So they have Breakline for veterans. They have Breakline for mavens, like women. Breakline for obviously, Asian, Black, Native American, like underrepresented communities in the corporate landscape, right? And their whole mission is to bring these communities, these people into the tech landscape, right? Which everyone knows is extremely hot. So I use Breakline, but I actually got my interview with Meta through a different medium. So I didn't actually have to go through the whole process with them, but they were geared and ready to go. And I got to see how their program was set up, and they were literally ready to set me up with interviews for companies. And it really took the stress away from looking for a job, right? I was pretty much like, okay, if this interview with Meta doesn't work, I'm just going to just run the gauntlet with Breakline and see what they have for me with whatever company that I match up with well, because they do that as well. And not just any tech companies, right? Everybody's on there, from Affirm to Indeed to Google to Microsoft.
So they're on Breakline?
They're all partnered with Breakline.
Oh, I did not know
right.
that.
So their Breakline pretty much is the Nathan's group, like the recruiting service of, what I'm saying, the conduit between these communities and the tech companies, right? So Breakline literally goes to these tech companies like, hey, we're so-and-so, this is our mission, right? We're trying to bring underrepresented communities into your businesses, and they're going to be qualified, and they're going to be prepped for their interviews. They're going to be good to go, right? So literally all of these tech companies say, heck yeah, we want them, bring them on. And pretty much you get in through Breakline, because what you'll understand is that a lot of these industries, a lot of these companies, it's a good boys club, right? Who do you know? How well do you know them? And that's how you get your interview. And then obviously for a lot of us, like once we get our interview, okay, I'm good because I'm going to talk, right? And you'll be able to see the caliber of person I am. But the problem is getting the interview.
Bro,
and Breakline does that. Breakline does that for you. You have a direct in, like, hey, I have this person who lines up great with this role. The company will literally say, hey, all right, send them in. You got to interview 2 weeks.
He's dropping gems right now. Like,
it's just knowledge that I didn't even know. So yeah. Take this.
Oh my gosh.
So with Breakline, there's something that you haven't applied for, right? You can't just be any Joe Smo applying, right? When I say Joe Smo, I mean make sure that your records are up to date, right? My resume, I want to say I have about 7 iterations of my resume. Taking it and taking the military words from my performance reports and making them civilian-like so that they don't read like an OPR. And that took a while. And you need to practice at it, but that's something that you should start probably a year out. You should be working on your civilian resume. And that's exactly what I did. My resume was done, I want to say February 2021, right? Now it's March 2022. Yeah. And then once your resume is done, just out the door, start talking to people, start moving.
So as a O, obviously, like I would imagine this process is easier for you because you're able to throw Air Force Academy on it, and you're able to throw 5 years work experience, and then led over 200 people. And then it turns around. You did this job search. It took you 6 months to find a job?
6 months.
For the East Side, what would you think that looks like? Like, do you think they would need to go get their CCAF? Or do you think that because they have enough job experience in actually doing the work in their career field, they can finesse it into something else?
So the the one up that E's have on us, right, is that a lot of them, right, if they're not going to do 20 years or anything like that, they have those years invested, right? I have 10 years doing this type of work. And what I think, and this is really important too, what I think a lot of people in the military don't know is how easily transferable or how easily relatable our work experience is in the corporate landscape. It is so easily like transferable. Like, oh, I used to do this over here. Like you could be a crew chief or something like that, working on one of the airplanes, and you can literally beeline to go be a specialist or somebody in a tech company. That's because the skills that you learn as far as like people management, because as a crew chief, you still have people under you. People management, being able to talk to people, being able to just fix daily problems, all of the little things that you learned as far as doing things day in and day out on that flight line is transferable over there, and it's stuff that that you do at a high level that the person next to you, straight out of college or something like that, has no idea how to do, right? The person straight out of college has no idea what to do when you got a colonel yelling at you, wanting you to get this thing fixed, and you on this end have no idea what he's talking about. But by the end of the day, it needs to be fixed.
Right.
That's something that we all know how to do. It's like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I bet you by 4 o'clock it's going to be done, right? That's experience that a lot of people don't have, right? That type of pressure on you is something
that grace under pressure, right? To figure it out.
Exactly. And that's at all levels of the military, right? From little E1 all the way to 06, all levels of the military. And that's something that we keep with us. We are problem solvers. We're going to get this job done. We're going to finish the mission, right? So for the East side, as far as giving that advice on like what it would look like for them getting out of the military, one is you need to know what you want to do, right? And please let it be
5, 10, 15.
Your plan. You gotta have that plan.
You need to know what you're going to do.
Yes.
And let every decision you make be based off of whatever it is that serves that 5, 10, and 15.
Exactly. If you know that, hey, you want to be a program manager in this industry, okay, well, all right, you should probably go get a degree in that industry, right? Or you should probably go get some type of certification dealing with that. Or you should probably go volunteer on your off time to go work in this type of office or something like that, right? You have to always make moves for the next step. Because if you don't, and it's just look up like, all right, I just did 10 years in the military, I haven't done zip as far as like trying to be in the industry I want to be in, or I want to go into filmmaking or something like that. All right, well, do you have any type of experience in that? No, I don't.
Experience knowing camera work, angles, lighting.
You know, do you know anything?
Class?
Take a class? Do you know anything about it? No, but I want to do it. We'll see you when you finish all of these prerequisites, right? There's prerequisites for everything that you want to do in life, right? There's always something that needs to be accomplished first before you can get to where you want to go. So for them, it's now for me, right? Like I'm reaching for a higher level, right? As far as like where I wanted to go. I'm trying to be somebody's COO, right? But so I started out higher, so I'm going to reach higher. For them, they're starting out at the level that they're at. They're going to reach to the level that they want to reach to. And there's things that they need to accomplish along the way. And my main advice is to make sure you have your plan and you're accomplishing whatever it is you need to accomplish to get to where you want to go, whether that be to be a data analyst somewhere over here at this company, or work for United Health Group, or be at some construction company, or you want to be an entrepreneur. What type of business licenses do you need to start up your own business? What type of capital do you need to have fronted? Do you need to write a business plan to go present this to whatever bank so you could get some type of loan, right? Those are the type of things that you need to be thinking about long before you get to where you're going. Now, I had an idea for myself. I knew that, hey, when I came into the military, I knew that I probably wasn't going to serve 20 years, right? I knew that. And every year that went along, it became apparent like, oh, I might do 10. Then it's like, oh, I might do 7. Oh, I might do 6. Oh, no, I'm going to get out at the time that I'm supposed to get out, right? But along that way, every year I kept reiterating my plan. I kept changing it. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I think I want to do this. What do I need to do that? Okay, cool. Right. I made sure that I got my MBA before I finished, before I got out of the military. Right. I finished my MBA last year. I started my MBA as a second lieutenant. You know what I'm saying? Like forethought. I'm not trying to waste my time. And that's one of the big things that I think a lot of our enlisted individuals do. I think they waste time. Hey, life's comfortable over here. And I had this talk with a lot of my airmen. And I used to tell them, if you're going to give the Air Force 20 years of your life, make sure you get 20 years out of the Air Force, and whatever capacity that looks like for you, right?
I think what benefits. I mean, cut you off. But I think something that benefits the enlisted is they come in as a specialty. You know, they have some certain traits that they are being trained in from the minute they come in. It's like, hey, build up on your specialty. And if you do want to do something else, the Air Force will pay for that. They will take care of that.
So not an important, but a good example of that would be a lot of my crew chiefs when I was working in working an F-16 unit with the top hats. A lot of the crew chiefs had their professional licensing to go be a master mechanic at, you know what I'm saying, any of these dealerships down in the valley, right? And I was like, wow, they're not wasting time. You know what I'm saying? If they wanted to get out of the military right now, they'll get out, and they actually probably might go make more money than what they were making at that, you know what I'm saying, at that point. Just because the military gave me these skills as far as like working on these planes. Now I can fix this $100 million jet, this F-35. I can fix this. Who's to say I can't go fix this Toyota Camry? You know what I'm saying? So they have been given, you know what I'm saying, those abilities and those skills, and they built on it, right? They took that, they built on it, and a lot of them set themselves up to get out and go do whatever they want to go do, right? To be subject matter experts at whatever job that they apply to on the outside. I think that's important, is to take what the military gives you and build on it. And that's exactly what we did. Like when I say my MBA was so easy because all I did was talk about my military experience. Anything where they asked for my opinion, hey, I remember this one time I had this airman who came in my office and we had to talk about, like, oh my gosh. It happens all the time. I took what the military gave me and I just built on it, right? And I think that's what everybody should be looking at.
I think I heard this, I think it was my first year into being a second lieutenant. It was a prior E who had crossed over, and he was a first lieutenant at the time. And he said a mentor of his told him that the Air Force is the greatest internship that you could ever get, because you get paid to do so.
You're paid to do so.
That's one way to look at it. But we also got to recognize, like, the other side of it, like the positives of staying in. Now, for a lot of people, their purpose might truly be to serve, and it's to serve in the world's greatest Air Force or the world's greatest military, which is we are both. And the Navy is the second greatest Air Force. But what would you say to the people that want to stay in? I still think all of these things that we're saying applies, you know, still have your plan. If you're going to be a colonel, you got to do the work. Like if you're going to be a chief, you still have to do the work. You got to know your job. And I will say, for where we currently sit as a force, we need members who want to be there. Right. Not people that's just here to get the benefits and then leave, you know? What would you say to them?
The people who want to be there, first thing I would ask is, are you sure? And the reason I ask that is because we need you to be locked in, right? And there's a level of commitment that you have to reach to make it to the heights that some of our military greats have made. That if you're not that committed, you're never going to reach there. You're not going to rub off on the right people. You're not going to ask the right questions because you're not thinking about it the way that you should be thinking about it, right? So my first question I would ask is, are you sure? Because if you're not, you need to get out, right? And that came a point for me where I knew what I should be doing, but I didn't want to do it, right? I was like, no, this is why I know that I need to get out, right? And I feel like if you're having that internal struggle of, you know what you should be doing, but you're not doing it, or don't want to do it, then you should hit the button. Now, if you know what you'd be doing and you're doing it, what is your plan, right? Because the Air Force operates like a corporation as well. It is what do you know and who do you know? A lot of people get hired, get these special jobs and stuff like that is because they work for somebody over here on this deployment, or they met somebody over here on this TDY, and the job posted itself, somebody retired or anything like that, and it was a shoe-in.
They knew somebody and they picked them up.
For myself as well, my mentor happens to be pretty well known in the Air Force. Before I made the decision that I wanted to get out, she put my name in a hat to be this the general, this 2-star general.
Camp.
You said what?
Aide de camp.
Aide de camp.
Aide de camp.
Aide de camp.
It's a general's aide.
2 stars aide.
This general's aide. This 2-star general's aide, and I literally only got that because one, I worked my ass off, right, to get to where I needed to be, but also I knew somebody and I made a good impression on her, and she wanted to vouch for me. So much so that she threw my name in the hat with this big job that pretty much writes your ticket to where you want to go in your Air Force career, as far as like on the officer side. And there's opportunities like that for the East side as well. But
now, can I jump in on that when it comes for like the O's and E's? With that, it's not just who you know, is if you do your job well for those, for where you are currently. Because if you work hard where you are currently, someone is going to recognize you. You may not work directly under them, might not work directly for them. Someone on the outside, someone in another flight or squadron over, like, hey, I recognize this person's going off. I'm gonna try to, put a good word in to their boss, or keep my eye on them, or try to get them over here in my squadron to work for me.
Yep.
And that's another way where don't feel like that, you're not doing enough in your spot. Someone can be somewhere else that's not directly, in your chain of command, could be recognized your greatness and what you're doing.
Yep. And this happened, it's happened a couple of times for me. Is like, so I got pulled into a lot of the positions I got pulled into because of my first job, being a maintenance officer. I was an assistant OIC in the 310th, right? Now, I was a butter bar, literally a second lieutenant. I was able to be the OIC of that unit because I performed so well, and my boss was like, no, you're good. Stay there. I don't need to fill this job. It's a captain spot, literally 2 ranks above you. You got it, And from there, it spawned through the rest of the base that, oh, he knows what he's doing. A lot of the other commanders, they sit there and they talk about you. They get in the room and they literally talk about all of their officers, and they say, oh, how's this person doing? How's this person doing? Oh, I think he needs this. I think he needs this. He probably needs this type of leadership opportunity to grow him, right? They sit there and they talk about you, and they figure out how they need to groom you best so you can grow up and become a squadron commander, because that's literally what they're all growing us to be, as squadron commanders, right? On the maintenance officer side, for all other O's as well. But they sit there and they talk about you and they talk about your development and they talk about who's doing well and who's not doing so hot, right? And your reputation permeates throughout the group, throughout the base. You do something good over here, somebody over there is going to hear about it. And when the opportunity presents itself, it's going to present itself to you because you did well over here, right? So it's like, yeah, like Swag said, it's important to do well at your job. That's first and foremost. All of the other stuff that I talked about, as far as like knowing this person over here and reaching out to this person over there, if I didn't do well at my job or do well at, you know, my degree or any of this type of stuff, like that's my credentials, right? If you don't have the credentials, you can't reach up. You can only reach as high as your credentials allow you to, right? And your credentials come from hard work. And you keep reaching up, you do great, right? And your credentials keep getting better, keep getting better, keep getting better. It raises your ceiling as far as how high you can reach.
Yeah, and I think that just goes back to like my parents. My dad preached a sermon. It was called "Excelling Your Present Assignment," and I quite literally have been carrying that sermon with me since I left their house at 17 years old. Because that's quite literally all you can do. If you do well with the hand, you know, deal the hand you're dealt. Make the best out of every single situation. It opens the doors for you later on down the road. And I think that's what Swag and Jacoby were getting towards. It's like just excelling in your present assignment. And then it all ties back into just how we started this whole conversation with the work that he's done. He's done the work. He's made provisions for himself. And now he's able to make moves. So you have information. Our goal is to always offer information, but it's up to you to do with that what you will, you know.
For sure, right? Y'all got any more questions for me?
Swag, you got any more questions?
To be honest, you answered some of mine while answering yours. So
yeah, I feel like I was long-winded today. Maybe
just
next
today.
time we do this. You got jokes.
Oh.
Emotional damage.
Well, Jacoby would definitely be on the show again. I'm gonna speak for Swag. He'll be on the show as well. I kind of want to make it an ongoing thing. I got to make sure that I keep track of my brother. He's doing well in life outside of the Air Force. I know the Air Force is what brought us together, but he'll do well. You guys make sure to hit the comment, wish him well. He kind of low key online. So if you want to give out your social media, you can, but I don't think that's his vibe.
No.
Don't follow him, but y'all know what we do. I missed it at the top of the show. Like, share, subscribe. Look, like, share, subscribe. Hey, like, share, subscribe. Hey. Go make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Carter Swag is going to be coming with his own Twitch channel. Be sure to follow him. Thank you for checking in with us. I hope this information was for official use only. Have a good night. Thank you.
Peace.
Brown baby.